special person visiting us today. If you've been on this hall before, you probably noticed the plaque that's on the wall of the Wooten brothers. They are all graduates of Denbigh High School, and they are all professional musicians. Hold on, record with the chairs. Hold on. Okay, thank you. In the chorus room. I'm going to do a very brief bio of Mr. Wooten. This is Mr. Joseph Wooten, and he is a keyboardist, writer, arranger, producer, educator, and motivational speaker. He's a 3-time Grammy nominee and a 1-time Grammy Award winner. Awarded with the Steve Miller Band, whom he has been with since 1993. He's the brother of Victor Wooten. For those of you who might not know, Victor Wooten has been named the best bass player in the world. He visited us last year and unveiled his bow bass. It was pretty cool. Also brother of Roy Wooten, who's also a 5-time Grammy Award winner, known as Future Man, played with Bella Fleck and the Flecktones, and Reggie Wooten. Reggie Wooten is who wrote this school's alma mater and our recently rewritten fight song. I don't want to read all of this because I don't want to get to all of your time. But, Joseph's early elementary school years were spent with his siblings playing nightclubs and sharing the stage with artists like Curtis Mayfield, War, and other major artists of the time as the Wooten brothers. In the 70s, there were more major artists to share the stage with, such as The Temptations, the SOS Band, Stephanie Mills, Dexter Wansell, Ramsey Lewis, and Maze featuring Frankie Beverly, and others. As the 80s arrived, the brothers caught the ear of the popular R&B artist Kashif, where they recorded an album entitled The Wootens for Artista Records. Joseph's unmatched talent and undeniable groove landed him the position of the band leader, musical director, and keyboardist for Kashif. During that time with Artista Records, Joseph also sang background vocals for Whitney Houston on her debut album, as well as Kenny G. Joseph contributed numerous compositions to 2 of Victor's Grammy-nominated CDs. During this time, when the family moved east, Joseph and his brothers had a residency at Busch Gardens, where Joseph honed his skills not only as a keyboardist, but as an accordion player, arranger, and composer, as he composed over 40 pieces for every individual cast member. In 1993, he became the keyboard player and vocalist for the legendary Steve Miller Band, playing large venues around the world, and where he remained for 18 plus years.
26 on the 12th. 26
Still,
years on the 12th.
26 years now. When not on the road with the Steve Miller Band, Joseph is a part of the elite group of hand-picked musicians called Freedom Sings, organized by the First Amendment Center in Washington, D.C., presenting a multimedia experience celebrating the First Amendment and free expression. He also serves as the keyboardist to his brother Victor in between breaks from his extensive travels with Steve Miller. When he's not traveling city to city, Joseph can often be found speaking to college students, high school and middle school students about character development, self-esteem, self-respect, and personal growth using his own life experiences as examples. I'd like to introduce to some and represent to others my personal friend and alumnus, Mr. Joseph Wooten.
Thank you. So I got one extra word added to my resume. I am now also an author. I'm gonna start a little bit differently this time. Raise your hand if you've seen me before. Raise your hand if it's the first time seeing me. Okay. So I want to start differently. Chocolate.
You see the gold thing right in front of you? Yes.
All right. Somebody give me like just a short phrase that means something positive for you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Raise your hand if you got one.
Thank you.
Huh?
Thank you.
Thank you for. Somebody added that. Thank you. What?
For being a friend.
Thank you for being a friend. That's a good one.
Thank you for existing.
I'm going to sing it one more time. Thank you for being our friend. Thank you for being our friend. Your friendship makes me say amen. Thank you for being our friend. Everybody sing it. Thank you for being our friend. Thank you for being our friend. Does anybody else have something to add to that? Short phrase, somebody? Somebody, just. Yeah.
For loss or for hope?
What's that?
For loss or for hope?
For loss or for help? What does that apply to? For loss or for help?
Because if I'm lost, when I'm in need of friends, I'm like mostly lost, and they help me and they give me hope.
For loss or for hope?
Hope.
For loss or for hope? For loss or for hope?
For those of you who don't understand what's happening, this is the creative process. Just pay attention.
Okay, so we're going to say, to make it, we're going to say, when, I know I'm writing small, that was always my liability. When I'm lost, when I need hope. I hope you don't mind that change a little bit. When I need hope. Thank you. All right, let's get this out. So here's the chorus. Thank you for being a friend. When I'm lost, when I need hope, thank you for helping me cope. When I'm lost, when I need hope, thank you for helping me cope. I'll sing it to you, and then we'll all join in. We'll sing the whole thing, and I'll let you know where I'm going. Let's see. When I'm lost, when I need hope, thank you for helping me cope. When I'm lost, when I need hope, thank you for helping me cope. Everybody say, when I'm lost, when I need hope, thank you for helping me cope. When I'm lost, I need hope. Thank you for helping me go. Thank you for being my friend. Thank you for being my friend. Thank you for being my friend. Your friendship makes me say amen. Friendship makes me say amen. Thank you for being my friend. Thank you one more time. Thank you for being my friend. First, let me say thank you for letting me speak to you today. How much time do I have?
Until 2:10.
Okay. All right. Before I get okay. So, how many seniors do we have? Raise your hand. How many juniors do we have? Raise your hand. And sophomores? Any freshmen? Perfect. I just don't. Okay. Okay. My name is Joseph Wooten. My name is Joseph Wooten, and at one time I was a student just like you. In this classroom, I was a classmate of Ms. Powell. She graduated a year after I did. I used to sit about in your seat right there. That was my chair here. I was a tenor in this classroom, and you know, some of the best times of my life was spent here. I like to talk to young people because young people are about the least corrupt generation that we have. Like my generation and people that are older than me, they came out, like my parents grew up in like the Jim Crow South, blacks only here, whites only there, and that kind of thing. So, you know, I grew up in busing where they forced us all to come together, and now you guys don't have any of that. Like blacks and whites are sitting here, it ain't no big deal, right? You guys, thank goodness for y'all, you guys are less corrupt than we are. So I like to speak to young people because the future depends on you. I do my best to try to make sure that students are inspired, if at all. But this is what I remind young people all the time. One thing about young people, I remind them that older people are always looking at young people to see who they can help in the future. They're looking at young people to see who they can help in the future. And raise your hand if you want to be successful. If you want success to be part of your life. If you don't want to be successful, keep your hand down or stay still. All right, so check this out. If you want to be successful, that means some things. Success means some things. If you want to be successful, do you think that means that you can just do, what's the first recipe of success? I'll give you the answer already. It's hard work. Can we agree on that? Yeah. If you truthfully want to be successful, then you have to be willing to work. If that's the truth, raise your hand. It means hard work. Does that mean that you can just do the work that you want to do, or does that mean that you have to do all the work? Yeah. You have to do all the work. That's pretty truthful, right? If you want people to help you in the future, do you think that it's important to look the part? Yes. Do you think it's important to look the part? So if you don't look the part and you're not successful, can you blame anybody else? No. Right? So if I'm speaking with you now and I want to help you in the future, but you're not looking or you're asleep, is that on me? No. Right? It's not on me, right? Okay? So in your life, there's some things that aren't fair, but you got to handle them anyway. One of the biggest ways that you can tell the difference between somebody who's mature and somebody who's not mature, and somebody who's not mature always has somebody else to blame for the things that are going wrong. I was born, I got asthma, right? I got nobody to blame. So I studied and studied. There's lots of things that I can't eat that I would like to eat, right? It ain't really fair, but I like to breathe. So there's some things that I don't eat. Okay, so in your life, there's some things that aren't fair. It's not easy to be young. I was your age one time. Now it seems simpler now that I'm older, but when I was your age, it's not easy to be 15, 16, 17, 18. And I will admit that people my age oftentimes forget that, right? And you have no idea how easy it is. Get in this room, you got no idea how easy it is. And people my age should remember that it's not easy to be young. But people your age should remember that you have responsibilities also. Because older people want to help you, but it's not our responsibility to help you. It's not our responsibility to make you sit up straight. You should know that. It's not your responsibility to be quiet when people are talking, and I thank you for that. You should know that. It's the first step on being successful. To be successful requires ability, but long before it requires ability, it requires that you be good at the things that don't require talent. Being on time doesn't require talent. If you can't be on time, you don't deserve success because you haven't done the stuff that doesn't require any ability. Being on time is not, you don't have to have a skill for that. Listening to somebody who has more experience than you doesn't require a skill. That requires discipline. Success requires discipline. It requires some self-control. Looking the part doesn't require talent. Being easy to get along with doesn't require talent. All those things come long before talent, and you'll find out that if you don't have those things, they'll get in the way of your talent. Like we've seen athletes, I won't name names, athletes, some of the greatest athletes that have ever been, that don't get called back to coach, right? I remember, I'll use this name because it's in the public record, but Terrell Owens, nobody's caught more touchdown passes than Terrell except one, right? But while he was still an active athlete, they locked him out of the facility in Philly. The coach said, I'd rather lose without him than win with him because he's so disruptive, right? It didn't take talent not to be disrupted, so he had talent but didn't have discipline. Right? If you don't have discipline, it'll get in the way of your talent. So as you're looking to see what you're going to do in the future, and you don't know where you're headed yet, know that you'll need to be on time. Just be on time. Be on time, be respectful, respect other people. So the reason that I started with this song here, because I wanted you to realize how powerful your words are. But two, I wanted you to, this is what I wanted to explain to you. So, I play music for a living. And raise your hand if you like music. Okay. Now, the reason we like music is because we can hear that order is beautiful. It's easy to hear. Now, what I make music from is this. Right? That's what I make music from. That's not so beautiful when you play it all together. You see what I'm saying? But because I have some ability, I have some knowledge, I have some ability and I have some knowledge. So from this mess, I can make something that's enjoyable by all. Right? Now that's the good thing about learning a skill is that it teaches you to be better at the skill, but getting better at that skill applies to life. Right? So as a musician, and Ms. Powell and your teachers can tell you some of the best parts of being a musician if you're ever fortunate enough to be in a jam session. Jam session, everybody's playing at the same time, we're all listening, everything's flowing, this person talks, I don't play to play over him, he doesn't play to play over me, everything is cool. If somebody starts playing and starts trying to show off, they mess up the music for everyone, right? And what I'm getting to is musicians do that with notes, right? But life is like a jam session of ideas. Everybody's ideas, when we put them all together, do this, right? Which is not that beautiful. But if you know something, if your intent is right, if you have some skill, then from that mess, you can create some order and create some beauty that's beneficial to everybody. Even like today, we sang the song, not everybody sang it, but nobody got hurt. You see what I mean? We either make things better or nobody gets hurt. And that's the way to go about things. Like, so too often, I have a conversation, I have a talk that I'm working on. It's called Games, not games. Games. Well, I've heard a lot of older people that will say that this generation is the generation where they think that everybody should get a trophy just for participation. And that's not real life. In real life, everybody doesn't get a trophy. And that's the truth, except I would add to that, that's the truth if you equate life to a game. Life is more than a game. Life is better than a game. A game is a good analogy because you can learn a lot from playing sports. But life is better than that. So if anybody's been fortunate enough to have a significant other or somebody they love, like that's my wife right here. That's Stephanie. Well, say hi to Stephanie. Okay. So when things are going well for Stephanie and I, it's not like it's more than a game. It's not like today, Stephanie, I'll let you be the winner. Tomorrow, I get a chance to win. It's for us to be together. We're more like making music, because all music is are taking different things and putting them in perspective, so it'll be beautiful for everybody. That's all it is. So the truth about life is more than a game. Life is more like making music. But to make good music, you have to have something. First, you have to have some knowledge. Like I can't just come to the piano with good intentions and make music. I got to know something, right? The thing that takes this, like if I go, right? Like this right here. These are all the notes to the national anthem. Every single note of the national anthem is in here. But it doesn't sound like the national anthem. Why? Can anybody tell me why? It's all jumbled all together. What's missing?
The order.
No, yeah, the orders. How do I get these notes in order? What do I have to put between these notes? Space. Right. Space. The thing that takes a pile of notes and turns it into something useful is space. You have to have a feel for what's in that space. Because space, truthfully, is just, right? So, but you have to have a feel for directing, okay? You have to do that making music, but you have to do that in life too. You have to do that in life too. Good example. If I say, if there's a subject that you need to talk to somebody about, right? And it's a tough subject, and I go, man, you know, there's something we really need to talk about, right? It's one thing. If I go, yo, man, we got something we need to talk about, right? That's a different thing, right? Because I don't have a feel. I don't have feel. That requires you to have some feel. We broke away from England for a brand new day. We talked about freedom, but we still own slaves in the land of the free, the home of the brave. Too many soldiers wound up in the graves, and the only choice for ladies were to keep having babies, and the Native Americans evicted from their own land. Only people that were equal were some white men like Washington, Jefferson, Madison, Hamilton. Imperfect people, but they did great things, so freedom can bring. Now we can all sing. We are American. Bondage never again. We raise each other's hand to stand in liberty. We can't make America great with racism and hate. We keep reliving the division of Confederate states. We keep rehashing all the passion of the times we used to segregate. We shouldn't fight, instead we should celebrate that dream of Martin Luther King, where all of our people would be on the same team. So tonight we'll let freedom ring. Now everybody sing. We are American. I'll cut the spare again. Our country fair again. Because we never get it. Because we care again. We stand in liberty. This is our testament. Sister and brethren. Sister and brethren. My country is of thee. My country is of thee. Sweet land of liberty. Listen, we're all American. You're not my enemy, and even if you don't agree, you're still a friend of me. I never said I was perfect, never pretend to be, with patriotic hand in my heart. And when I'm on one knee, still love America from coast to coast. Cause you're the country that I love the most. Republican, Democrat, immigrant too. Let me sing along with you. Listen, cause we're the greatest country that there's ever been. If we're not together, we will never win. We're the greatest country that there's ever been. If we're not together, we will never win. If we're not together, we will never win. If we're not together, we will never win. So from the people to the president, sing. We are American. Listen to me. We are American. We are American. We are American. We are One more time. We are American. to go back one more time. I want to talk about, how are you? I'm going to talk about, again, recipes of success. Raise your hand again if you want to be successful. Raise it up. Okay. If we want to be successful, what is the first ingredient of success? Hard work. Hard work. Right. Can anybody give me another ingredient of being successful?
Dedication.
Dedication, absolutely.
Passion.
Passion, yes. Patience.
Leadership.
Tolerance.
Leadership.
Leadership. Discipline. Yes. You going to say it?
Never mind. Integrity.
Integrity, absolutely. Respect. Commitment. Consistency.
Confidence.
Intelligence, absolutely.
Cooperation.
Cooperation. Anybody else?
Confidence.
Confidence. All great answers. All of them absolutely correct. Does anybody else have any more to add to it?
Your attitude.
Your attitude absolutely is a good one. Thank you, Shirley Wooten. I'll add looking the part. But my next question is, do any of those require talent?
No.
Do any of those require talent? They don't require talent. So my next question is, if you don't provide the things that don't require talent, truthfully, do you deserve the success that you say that you want? If your hand is up but you're not willing to be on time, respectful, take the time to be intelligent about what you're getting ready to do, look the part, respect other people, then really you're pretending about success. You're like the person who wants to be the fastest in the world but don't like track practice. You don't like running, but you want to be the fastest in the world. You know what I mean? You want to be the greatest musician in the world, but you don't like sitting behind the keyboard and don't like putting the time in. If you're saying that you want to be successful, then you got some things to do. You got to do more than just want it. So my next question, and you don't have to answer this to me. You don't even have to answer this out loud. But if you're raise your hand if you're honest about wanting to be successful. If that's the truth, you want to be successful. All right. The next question to ask yourself, if you're being honest, look at when you're going to be successful, it starts with the things that you're doing right now. Success doesn't start down the road. It starts today. So the next question to yourself, don't answer this for me. You don't have to answer it out loud, but you need to answer it for yourself honestly. Look at your own schoolwork. Are you doing it? Is it done? Right? Is your homework, is it done? Don't answer that for me. Don't answer for me. That's not an answer for me. I'm telling you. That's not an answer for me. That's an answer for you. Because you're the one that wants success. Listen to me. Listen to me. Excuse me. If you're the one that wants success, it requires some things now. Right? If somebody's talking to you now and you're talking here, that's pretend one. Right? You got to do the things today. If you want to be successful, then look the part now. Right? Walk in straight up. Be respectful for other people. Be respectful to your instructor. Your instructor's not here because they're getting rich. They're not here because teaching pays a bunch. They're not. But listen to what that says, though. If somebody is willing to take less money for you to be successful, then you owe them something. You owe them something. Right? Because otherwise you're wasting people's time. And if you're a person that will waste other people's time, do you deserve to be successful? No. The answer is no. If you won't even take the time to sit up straight, do you deserve to be successful? The answer is no. The answer is no. Because success truthfully is a thing that you give yourself. It's not a thing that other people give to you. And if they do give it to you, they give it to you because you deserve it. So young men, I would advise you to stand up straight. If you want to be successful, look the part. Be the part. Be the part when you walk in so it's undeniable. Right? Because if I walk in and I see somebody slouching, the first thing I think is, this dude don't even want it. Well, why am I going to help him? He ain't even going to take the time to sit up straight. It doesn't take talent to sit up straight. But again, what I've said before, if you want to be successful, then do the things that don't require talent well. Because if you don't do those things, they will get in the way of your talent. Okay? I play with the Steve Miller Band, right? Steve Miller Band, he's an older artist, but he's in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, right? I've been there for 26 years, but I've seen people much more knowledgeable than me and much more talented than me lose their gig just because they don't make it, they don't get along with it, right? They're talented, but their talent doesn't do it because either they were late or, they sort of goof off or they don't look the part. or one of those things that don't require talent, and now they're without a gig. It happens all the time. You see it in sports. People don't get traded because they don't work with other teammates well, and those are the things that don't require skill. You don't have to go home and practice to be on time. You just have to make a commitment, because your success is your responsibility. And I'll say it again, maturity, the way that you know that you're getting mature is when the things that don't go well for you cease to be other people's fault, right? I mean, even when it is somebody else's fault, it's your problem. You see what I'm saying? Even when it's somebody else's fault, it's your problem, and it's up to you to fix it. I have asthma. That's unfair. You know what I mean? It's unfair. Like, it's not my fault, but it's my problem. It's my problem. So now I'm a student of nutrition. There's lots of things that I don't eat that I would love to eat, but I can breathe well. I've had to take that on myself to be able to be successful, because I like to sing. To be able to sing, I got to be able to breathe. To be able to breathe, there's some things that I can't do. That's life. So what I'm asking you, what I'm requesting of you, is I want to see you be successful. I want to see you be successful, but I want to make sure that you do the things that you have to do to be successful. This is another thing that not only young people make this mistake, but what we too often do, we don't value the things that we have a lot of, right? Like, you've probably heard me say this before, I'll say it again anyway. Imagine somebody walks up to you, gives you $36,525 cash. Boom, they hand it to you. But here's the catch. Here's the catch. For the rest of your life, you don't get any more money. That's it. That's it. Hear me out. Hear me out. Hear me out. Listen to me. I got this. If you listen, you'll get it. $36,525, but the catch is for the rest of your life, you're not getting any more. When you get that money, are you going to be wasteful with it, or are you going to be careful with it? Raise your hand if you be careful. Raise your hand if you be wasteful with it. Okay, now, for the people who said they'd be careful, tell me why you be careful with it. Because you're not going to get any more, right? Anybody else?
You have the budget necessities and wants.
Because what?
You have the budget necessities and wants.
You have to budget your necessities. Anybody else?
It's not a lot for an entire lifetime.
It's not a lot for an entire lifetime. That's right. Now I'll tell you the reason why I give this, why I use this number. Listen to this. It's important. I use that number because if you're lucky enough to live to be 100, a lot of us aren't going to live to be 100. I hope all of us do. But if you're lucky enough to live to be 100, that's 36,525 days, including the leap year, including that February 29th day before. 36,525 days. And I ask this because we be really careful with our money, but day to day we waste our time, and time is more important than money. Right? So if you be careful with your money, why do you waste your time? It's not even a guarantee that you're going to get 36,525. And a lot of that money is spent already. Life is not long. Life is not long. 10 years is 3,000 days. Right? It's not that long. You don't have that much time. 36,525, you're going to sleep through a third of it. So go ahead, 36, make it 24. Right? You're going to waste a lot of time being mad at people. Take some thousands off of there. You're going to sit in traffic. Take some thousands off there. You'll be sick. Take some thousands off there. Some of it's going to be old age. Take some thousands off. The amount that you have, you got a few thousand days to work with. A third of that you're going to be asleep. Right? So make the most of it. Right? Look the part. If you want to be successful here first. My mom used to tell us, that y'all are successful already, people just don't know it yet. Right? Because she made sure that we made good grades. She didn't have to make sure we practiced. She knew we were doing that. But she made sure that we looked the part and we were honest and we worked hard and we did all the things that don't require talent. And she would say that you're successful already, other people just don't know it yet. So my suggestion to you is, even when things aren't going your way, go through it with some dignity, right? Try not to look the part. Try not to ever look the part of somebody who doesn't deserve it. You know what I mean? Sit up as straight as the person from Harvard. Sit up as straight as the person from Yale. Sit up as straight as the person living in the best house, even if all you can afford is something raggedy. And wear something raggedy with dignity. You know what I mean? Stand up straight. Be able to answer articulately. Don't only let the quote-unquote smart people be able to use correct sentences. You know what I mean? If you can speak to somebody of importance, you don't want every other phrase to be, you know what I'm saying, you know what I'm saying, you know what I'm saying. I say you know what I'm saying when I'm hanging with my friends, right? But my wife is just big business with some of the richest people on the planet. When I'm in that room, I can't be nah me. And the answer is you can, but you got some things to do first. First get a diploma, right? First get a diploma, then have some achievement, then have some things to show for why you want to be there. You know what I mean? Then you can get in those rooms. And then when you walk in, you'll have a resume of experience. Somebody will say, oh man, that's the kid that did X, Y, and Z. Or I like that kid. I don't know that kid, but that kid is articulate. That kid seems to have a lot on the ball. Man, that kid is sharp. Not that kid was slouchy last time I saw him. That kid was late. That kid kept talking when I was talking. That kid don't listen. That kid got a bad mouth. That kid don't know anything. That kid can jump, but he don't show up to practice. That kid is fast, but that kid is don't let anything bad come behind that kid. Because people are watching when you don't think they're watching. People are watching when you don't think they're watching. Okay? When you're on your phone, it seems like people don't see you, but they do, right? And the things that you do follow you. The good things and the bad. When Miss Powell is finished teaching, she'll remember which one of y'all looked like you got something on the ball, and you'll be surprised. I've seen it happen too many times. I've worked with a bunch of teachers. The kids graduate, the teachers are there for them because they see the ones. Again, teachers are here for your benefit. They're not here getting rich. They're not here getting rich. So they must be here for your benefit. And one part of character is when somebody does something for you, if you have any quality at all, you do something for them. So here's in the bigger picture. This classroom that you're sitting in, it wasn't that long ago. It wasn't that long ago, like within my lifetime, where they had to call the National Guard out just for the black kids to walk into the school with white people. Right? The National Guard, yeah. The National Guard, like the governor of Alabama, it's got the dogs and the police weren't going to let black people in the school. They called out the National Guard to force black people to have the education that white people could have. People have made ultimate sacrifices for you to have this education. People have been killed, and people have been bitten by dogs, and people have been jailed for you to have this opportunity now. So if somebody sacrifices for you, then if you have any kind of quality at all, it's incumbent upon you to pay that bill, right? It's just like I used an analogy before of if you're walking down the street and you're taxiing and you're getting across the street and you're about to be hit by a vehicle and somebody dives out and pushes you out of the way, but they get hit. They take the hit for you. Well then, wouldn't you say that you would owe it to that person to make something of the life that they just saved? Well, my point is that there's generations before that have made that sacrifice for you to have this education that you have right now. It doesn't seem like much because you have it every day. One of the mistakes that people of all ages make is we don't value the things that we have a lot of enough until they're almost gone, right? But the people who have the most happiness aren't necessarily the people that have the most. They're the people that have things in perspective, right? So here's the things that work in your favor. One, you weren't born in the Soviet Union or the Middle East or Siberia or somewhere. You're born in the United States, right? Raise your hand if you've heard of Malala Yousafzai. Malala Yousafzai. She's, she was a woman that lived Pakistan, thank you. She lived in Pakistan, all she wanted was an education. They didn't teach females in Pakistan. So she kept learning anyway, and she wound up taking a bullet to the brain just for trying to have some education. Her dad was a teacher, kept teaching her. Taliban didn't like it. Boom, she takes a bullet to the brain. Fortunately, she's still alive, and she's the youngest Nobel Peace Prize winner. But my point, the reason I tell the story, is because what she took a bullet to the brain for, you get every day, right? But too many of us squander it. We squander opportunity. That's the biggest mistake that people of all ages make. But I like to talk to people your age because you are the future. You're where we're going. You know, people my age, we'll be going in a few years. Like, we got a few years, you know. But y'all gonna be here for a while, right? You guys are what the future depends on. I like speaking to young people, again, because your generation is the least sexist, the least homophobic, the least racist generation that we've had in this country yet. Okay? So you guys have a lot to offer. I'm talking to you not to be hard on you. I hope you don't feel that I'm being hard on you. But I do want to be real with you because your success is your responsibility. And if you want to be successful and your hands are up and I want you to be successful, then you got to do those things that don't require talent. And it starts today. It starts now, actually. So if look at what you're doing right now, right? And if you're on your phone, or if you're not listening, or if you're not even at least sitting up straight, there's a good chance that you're hoping like you'll collide with success one day, as opposed to creating. Success is a thing that you create. You're like a light bulb hoping that the room is going to be bright in a minute. You know what I mean? Just be a light bulb, right? Be successful. Be the success that you want to be. But it starts now. It starts now. It don't start in a few minutes. And success is not a thing that somebody's going to give you down the road. It starts with being successful. It starts with looking the part, being the part, and doing the things that don't require talent. You've probably heard this before, but I like to play this in front of you. This song is for the one that's not the champion, the one that has been trampled on, and maybe you don't have a home, and your name is unknown, but you don't get enough publicity, or you're not the right ethnicity, or maybe you don't know your mother, I'm not as famous as your brother, but this is what you got to do. See that no one means more than you, and even when you're fed up, you got to keep your head up and say that I am here. I am here, and I matter. This song is for the struggling single mother and the chemically addicted, constricted, and the wrongfully convicted. I can't say I know your pain, I won't say that I do, but behind even the darkest cloud, there's a sky that is blue and the sun shines through. The toughest pressure makes a diamond, and that diamond is you. So even when you're down and out, from the highest mountain you shout, I am here, I am here, and I'm better. I matter. You got to say that I matter. I never could dance like Michael, I can't sing like Stevie, and sometimes when I speak my truth, I swear that people don't believe me. I never could dunk a basketball, I can't rap like Ludacris at all, and sometimes it's just me and my songs, just staring at an empty wall. This is what I got to see. See that no one means more than me. And one day when my days are numbered, headed to my final slumber, I'll say that I was here. I was here. I was here. I was here. I'll say that I was I was here and I met
Yeah, yeah.
Thank you for being my friend. I thank you for being my friend. Your friendship makes me say amen. Thank you all for being my friend. I want every one of you to be as successful as you want to be, but first it requires some things. Do the things that don't require talent. Keep a list of those things that don't require talent and excel in them. And then have ability, right? Then have ability. If you do the things that don't require talent, you have a better, if you do the things that don't require talent without talent, you have a better chance of being successful than being talented without all these other things. All right? Thank you for listening. My name is Joseph Wooten, and thank you. I do have time for a few questions if anybody wants to ask them. Yes. What's my book? It's just I keep a book with me, and I keep just a collection of them,
No, this
here's
is not
one.
free
It
for
said,
all.
behind every criticism is a voice saying, if only they were more like me. It's got statements in there like that. And the books are for sale. I can't really give one to one and not give one to everybody. So Miss Powell will have one. I'll make sure that there's some books in here. You'll have a chance to look through it. Anybody else got a question? Yeah.
Any tips on learning piano?
Any tips on learning?
Learning piano.
Any tips on learning piano?
Yeah, like mid-term pianist.
I'm sorry.
Like a medium pianist.
A medium piano? I would say the best way to learn piano is spend time behind it. Spend time on it. Just spend time behind it. It'll start to make more sense if you put the time in. Anybody else got a question? No questions?
How long did it take you to compose music?
How long does it take me to compose music? It varies. Some songs, like I Matter, was written in less than 30 minutes. It sort of wrote itself. Sometimes, like I have some stuff that I've been carrying around for years that's not done yet. It's different. But ideas come quickly, and I'm writing all the time. Writing all the time. And truthfully, you are too. Right? Like if you think about it, if I ask you a question, if I say, how was your day today, and you answer it, you're composing. You don't go, today I got up at 4 and then I had breakfast. You know what I mean? You're composing also. You're just doing it with ideas. I do the same thing with things.
So that's it. Do you have any tips on mastering your voice?
Mastering your voice. Spend a lot of time doing it, and then don't be afraid to take vocal instruction. Yeah? Spend a lot of time doing it. Take vocal instruction, because the more you learn about what your voice is actually doing, the easier it is to know what you're doing, and the easier it is to take care of it as you get older. There's lots of vocalists that didn't take care of their voices as they got older. Whitney Houston is an example. Like Whitney, when Whitney sang her first single, I was there when Whitney sang her first single. This young person with this giant elastic voice. And then she got older and hadn't really, went through some hard times, and her voice didn't come with her as she got older. So I would say learn about your voice, take some instruction, and learn how to take care of it. So as you get older, you can carry your voice along with you. Anybody else?
Did Miss Powell teach you that I Matter song?
Did Miss Powell teach me the I Matter song? No, she didn't. Actually, I wrote that song back in 2010. And if you listen to Empire, Alicia Keys and Alicia Keys sang a song very similar called I Matter, You Matter, We Matter in the same key. I think Alicia heard my song. So music is very bad. Anybody else?
When you were in high school, did you ever when you were in high school, did you ever think that you were gonna accomplish all these things? Like, did you ever see yourself?
When I was in high school, yes. When I was in elementary school, yes. Because I had brothers, and all of my brothers were so talented, and I was practicing so hard to keep up with them. We knew that we were something special. So, yeah, we did have that confidence. It was still gratifying when we got there because we worked really hard to get there. But we weren't surprised when we got there. What really surprised us, though, and this is something else to listen to, when we were growing up in elementary school, we were practicing hours a day to be the best that we could be, and we knew, I mean, we could feel it. We knew that we were going to be big one day, but we practiced to be good. We didn't practice to learn the music business. So we thought we were going to be so talented. When we got there, they would see this thing, that this family of brothers that didn't need a band, that did their own singing, that did their own writing, and they would take care of us because we're going to make $1 billion for the record company. And we got there, we signed to Arista Records, same time they signed Whitney, same producer. We were recording, and Jackie Robinson, the first black bass player, he had passed away. The producer bought his home. We're recording in his home. We walk past his National League Most Valuable Player plaque every day before we go record. We're standing next to a pair of his golf shoes, a picture of him stealing home the World Series. We were living the high life, we thought, but we were broke as heck. Because we signed a contract that wasn't good for us. We were talented, but the talent wasn't enough. We weren't smart enough. We were talented enough. We were more than talented. We were more talented than them. But we didn't learn the music business. And because we didn't learn the music business, that home was bought with our record budget, right? The first thing that he did, because we were naive, the first thing he did, he convinced us to take we had a nice sized record budget for 1983. It was $125,000 in '82, which was huge then, especially for a black act. And first thing he did was convince us to take a small amount of money per week to eat off of, to quote unquote save the budget. Little did we know it meant save the budget for him, right? So we got taken advantage of, but we can't walk around angry because somewhere there's a contract with our names on it, right? So my point is, again, we did all the musical things it took to be successful. We were respectful and all of that, but we didn't learn the music business before we signed that contract. So, yeah, somebody said I would, that's absolutely right. That's the lesson to take from it. Yes.
Do you consider yourself fully successful, or are you still working your way up to be even better?
I consider myself successful because of who I am. You know, I'm honest. I get a chance to do things like this. You know, I consider myself successful, but I consider being successful kind of like counting to infinity, right? Like whether you're at 10, 100,000, or 1 million, you know, close to the ceiling. So I'm always trying to improve myself. But do I consider myself successful? Yes, with a gig or without one. No, never met myself. But you know, I get that question all the time. I get that from kindergarten. That's a question I get all the time. Never met. I met friends, but never met.
I'd like to learn how to play like piano or whatever. You can do that by playing by ear.
Yeah, playing by ear, of course you can. When you speak by ear. Right? When you speak, you don't read. Like if I ask you how you doing today, you just tell me. It's the same way when you play. And that's good. I mean, you write by ear, but it's good to know. It's good to know your music. It's good to be able to read. It's good to know your theory and all of that. But to be able to play and just, you know, enjoy it, just get behind the piano and enjoy it. Anybody else?
How many instruments do you play?
How many instruments do I play, or how many instruments do I play well? No, I play, I play keyboards. I can kick a few beats on drums. I can play a little bit of bass and even less guitar. So I'm primarily keyboard player, singer, songwriter. Anybody else? Yeah. How did I become confident? I think probably my mom made sure. My mom made sure. She would say to us, one thing she would say to us when we were growing up. She'd say, when you look in the mirror every day, and in the morning when you look in the mirror, you've seen the most important person that you're going to meet that day. But then she'd follow it up with, but you're no better than anybody else. So she made sure that we were confident because we're as important as anybody else. There's no reason for you to want to sit in the back of the room and feel like you don't deserve it. Because she made sure, both my parents, they made sure that, What's that? Sure.
We have a song in the repertoire that I really, really like.
Uh-oh.
I mean, I love them all, but
Which one?
Make Me Like a Child.
Make Me Like a Child? Yeah. Sure. All right, this is a song. I have my middle brother played, my middle brother was Rudy. And Rudy went to Denbigh also. He graduated in 76. And Rudy played in the marching band, he played the saxophone, and he played in the jazz band also. And he won the soloist award, I believe, when he was a senior. And he took his solo as a high school student, blowing two saxophones at the same time. Yeah, at the same time. Rudy was he played a C melody, which was a concert key saxophone, and an alto, which was a minor third up. And Rudy could blow. He could blow diatonics. He could blow in harmony. He could blow in octaves. He could blow in unison. He was pretty magnificent. So, but he was very childlike at heart. So I wrote this song with him in mind, and it's called "Make Me Like a Child." And I'm going to dedicate this to Miss Collins. Okay. Make me like a child today.
Thank you for your time.
Oh,
I
my
appreciate you. Thank you, Ms. Wooten. I'm sorry I didn't introduce you at the beginning. And thank you, students, those of you who listened and paid attention, even those of you who were rude, because you know I heard you. But I appreciate you taking the time to come and spend time with Mr. Wooten, who is so selflessly giving his time. We can't repay you for the
Yes, you
seed
can.
that you
You've al-
planted.
Listen, you've already repaid me. And for people who talk, I'm a talker. So I'm not going to act like I didn't say things when people were talking, because I've always been a talker. But I've always tried to do the things, again, that didn't require talent. One, because my mom wouldn't let me come home without it. So I thank you for listening. But I want you to hold yourself accountable for your success, right? Success is a thing that you bring yourself first, right? You got to be successful before you be successful, all right? So look the part, sit up straight, be on time, be dignified here before you expect somebody to respect you. If you want somebody to respect you, be knowledgeable, know the subjects, be able to speak, be able to talk without saying you know what I'm saying. There's nothing wrong when you know what I'm saying. I say it, right? But I know how to shut it off also. It's important. It's important to not just look the part, but be the part. We shall remember.
Come on, choir.
Our alma mater here. You are the Coming back to Denbigh High School is always heartwarming and gratifying. Because me and all of my brothers have so many memories here. And now that this music hall is named after my brothers and I, that it just deepens the emotion. I have so many memories, especially in this classroom.
But today's the day, and now's the time.
Okay, so my brother Reggie still, he's the one that taught Victor and I to play when we were 5 and 2, and he was 10. That's really the story. Where did the 10-year-old get it from? I know where I got it from. I got it from him. But Reggie still got a bunch of students. He still has plays a bunch of gigs back in Nashville. We all live in Nashville. And Roy, aka Future Man, is still composing, writing, playing drums for some of everybody, still thinking long, deep thoughts. And my brother Rudy passed away in 2010. But there's a jazz club named after him in Nashville now called Rudy's Jazz Room. So it's the only primary jazz club in Nashville. There's some other places where they play jazz, but the only primary jazz club is named after my brother, Rudy's Jazz Room. So that's cool as can be. Every time we play there, his pictures on the wall, big portrait of him on the wall, and his saxophone is on the far wall. When you play, you can look at his sax. His old alto. One of the horns that he played when he blew 2 saxophones at the same time and won the soloist award back in, I think, 1976. Wow, back, hard to believe, it's that long ago. And Victor is still, you know, traveling the world and teaching students. He has a music camp that he does every year. Victor's Center for Music and Nature out in the woods in a city called Only, Tennessee. And yeah, he teaches 1 week per month at the Berkeley School of Music in Boston. And he's raising his kids, and I'm getting ready to tour in Japan with Victor in 10 days or something like that.
That's right, Steve.
Yeah, oh, that's right. I toured with Steve Miller first, and then the day that I end with Steve, I jump on a plane and travel to Japan and play with Victor for about 10 days.
I got hope for the future, and as a matter of fact,
the tours have been going well. It's been busy. This year, the Steve Miller Band is going to go out again with Marty Stewart as an opener. They're going to try something a little bit different with a country artist as an opener. Marty is a member of the Country Music Hall of Fame, so that's going to be fun. We'll start that coming up in soon. I guess less than a week, right? This summer, we'll be touring with Marty Stewart opening the Steve Miller Band. When I say we, I mean the Steve Miller Band. I'm getting ready to do a spring tour with Steve Miller that starts in a few days. And at the end of that tour, I leave that tour, and before I even go home, I jump on a plane and go to Japan with my brother Victor. So Victor and my brother Reggie, who both are graduates of this high school. And we'll go and we'll play some more music. I've been fortunate enough that music is what I do for a living, and a lot of what I use, especially singing, a lot of what I sing with, a lot of the ways that I keep my voice ready to perform are things that I learned right here in this room. So glad you asked. I'm an author now. This book has probably been out maybe an hour and a half, a year and a half. It's called It All Matters. It's available on Amazon. It's a collection of my thoughts, what I believe, words that I live by. It all matters. I have a new charity called I Matter, You Matter. That'll be there to help me to do some of what I did today, to uplift students. I hope to give some scholarships and help to give voice to the voiceless. I'd like to help homeless people also. So that's exciting too. It's a new charity. I Matter, You Matter. It's IMatterYouMatter.com. Steve Miller Band coming up. I got Victor Wooten. I have my own band, Joseph Wooten, and the Hands of Soul. It's going to be a busy year. So far, so good.
keep your head up and say that I am here.
This is what I always hope. Like, I know there's so much potential with this generation. This generation is less, they have less of the built-in faults that my generation had. Like my parents, there's some things that were baked in and hard to get out. Like my parents came through Jim Crow and black-only water fountains, and the blacks and whites who came out of that time, there's some parts of that that's hard to get out. It's baked in. And I grew up, even the elementary school that my brothers remember and that I remember, they were in school before busing, and they remember being called names all over the place. School was totally different from them. I'm 3, 4, and 5 years younger after they started forcing black kids and white kids to mix. So my elementary school, my school years were all fun as far as I'm concerned. So what I want the students to take it, the reason I say that is because this generation doesn't have as much of that to deal with. So there's a lot less of racial issues, sex issues, not sex issues, but sexual identification, gender orientation issues. The biracial kid is not an outcast in this generation. So I like working with these students because there's so much to work with. And literally, this generation, as always, is our future. So I just try to inspire them. Because the only difference between an adult and a child is just an adult without the benefit of experience. So I try to be an adult, and this is the responsibility of adults, to bring experience and perspective to young people so that they can get older wiser. So I hope that today they took away the idea of what it takes to be successful. Successful is something that you do here first before you experience it out there. So I was trying to remind them to be proficient at the things that don't require talent. Being on time, being respectful, being dependable, looking the part, sitting up straight, being articulate. Those are things that don't require talent. And if you can't, I hope that they remember that if you are not proficient in those things, your talent won't make up for it. Your talent won't make up for the fact that you're not on time. Your talent won't make up for the fact that you're disrespectful or hard to get along with or whatever that thing is. So I hope they took that away. I hope they took away that success starts today. I asked them, like, if you really want to be successful, you know that it takes hard work. And if you believe that it takes hard work, then answer the question for yourself. Not for me. Is my work done here? Right? We have homework, we have assignments. If the answer is that your work is not done, then you're asking for something that's probably not as realistic because you're not willing to do the work, not because somebody's being mean to you.
Bless everyone around the world, every man and woman.
I would say that everybody is worthy of success, but it's up to you to deserve it. My mom used to tell us that when you look in the mirror in the morning, you've already met the most important person that you're going to meet that day. But she would follow it up with, you're no better than anybody else. So people should know that they are worth as much as anybody else, as my wife was just reminding me. And like the book says it all matters, but the book was written from a phrase of mine that says, I matter. My charity is called I Matter, You Matter. Everybody matters, and one person matters as much as the other person. But it's up to you to be worthy of the success that you hold.
Show us what our life is worth in our sadness and our